What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on this channel. Before we actually get into it, I want to say shoutouts to my friend Lululexium over on Twitter. She's the one who made my new sexy avatar. Shoutouts to Pika Poppin, who created my previous avatar. Go follow her on Twitter as well, at Pika Poppin. Both their links will be in the description. Also, go follow me on Twitter. Link in the description. So yeah, let's get back to the what ifing. A couple of months ago, I did what if Cooler was canon, and you guys seem to really like that one, so we're here with part 2. So if you guys didn't watch part 1, here's a brief summary. So basically, before baby Goku is sent off planet, Frieza is, introduced as the new emperor of the universe, leader of the Frieza force now, and Cooler very much didn't like that. So, he kind of blasted off to become his own man, his own self-made army. Cooler didn't return until he heard about Frieza's death, quote-unquote, at the hands of a Saiyan. On the way to Earth, King Cold and Cooler do some training. It's a little bit of training. It makes them stronger. Cooler ends up killing both Frieza and King Cold, as he saw them as useless. They got bested by Saiyans, but he also recognizes the potential in the Saiyans and thinks that maybe with their help they can take down a certain god. At the end of that video, I asked if Cooler waits until after the androids for him to recruit Goku and the other Saiyans, or does he try to do it beforehand, right then and there. Many of you guys chose to wait until after the android threat, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So we pick up shortly after Cooler kills Frieza and his father King Cold. Trunks requests to speak alone with Goku, but Cooler states that if he's got something to say, he should just say it to everybody. Trunks begins to tell everybody that about the android threat and Goku's heart virus. He's the only one that's left in his timeline to fight off the androids, but he obviously leaves out that he's the son of Bulma and Vegeta. Hearing this, Piccolo turns to Cooler and tells him that if he waits 3 more years, they will definitely join Cooler's forces. It'll give him more time to, basically train and be able to defeat Cooler next time he comes. Cooler thinks about it for a minute and replies, "Fine, I'll wait, but if I find out you're lying, I will personally see to the destruction of this planet." Cooler then turns around, getting into his ship and leaves. However, I don't think Cooler would be as stupid as Frieza, so he sends out spies to Earth just to make sure they don't try to pull a fast one on him. 1 year later, Cooler has had his army spread across the universe in order to recruit stronger people for the Cooler Force. One day, however, while training, Cooler gets interrupted by Berry Blue. She tells him that 2 grunts have found 2 other Saiyans still alive. This is where Cooler gets to meet the new Broly and Paragus. Cooler turns to Berry Blue and asks, why do they look like more trash than usual? Paragus then gives him his backstory that we got in the Broly movie, "Oh, King Vegeta was afraid of my son's immense power level at birth, so he sent him off to a planet and I chased after him with some other guy and we got trapped there because of my dumbass." Paragus then proceeds to ask Cooler what happened to, Planet Vegeta, where's Frieza, where's King Cold, where them? Cooler then proceeds to tell him that, both Frieza and Planet Vegeta have been destroyed. Paragus then asks if that means that King Vegeta is dead. Cooler says yes, however, his son, Prince Vegeta, is still alive on Earth. Paragus pleads Cooler to take him to Vegeta so, he can exact his revenge. Cooler refuses and asks how is he gonna do that. Paragus explains that he's been training Broly for this very occasion. Cooler says, but can your boy turn into a Super Saiyan? If he can't, then he has no hope. Paragus replies, no, that's just a legend. Cooler then explains to Paragus that there's 2 Super Saiyans on Earth, and without a doubt, Vegeta will achieve that transformation soon enough. However, he will fight Broly, and if he's strong enough without the transformation, Cooler himself will train the Saiyans. Broly and Cooler then stand opposite sides of the room. The fight then begins with Cooler obviously having the greater advantage. The fight is really just mostly Cooler beating down on Broly, but as the fight continues, Broly's hair spikes up and his body grows bigger and his eyes turn yellow. Ikari Broly is able to get the upper hand on Cooler for a split second before Cooler powers up and takes him down. With a menacing grin on his face, Cooler says, "Maybe you're not a waste of time, Broly." Over the next 2 years, Cooler trains both Broly and Paragus. Cooler nearly kills the Saiyans every day just to get them a Zenkai boost at the end of the day. One day, during their training, Cooler gets a report from one of his spies on Earth, telling Cooler that a big green bug-like creature named Cell is holding an open invite tournament, and the Saiyans will be participating. Cooler turns to Paragus and says, "Looks like it's time to get your revenge." From here, we're gonna skip over to the day of the Cell games. The Z-Fighters and the Cooler Force arrive at the arena around the same time. Not exactly, but around the same time. Cooler and Paragus are the only ones to step out. You know, they want to keep Broly a surprise, even though the other Z-Fighters could sense that enormous power coming from the ship. They ask Cell to add him to the tournament. Cell laughs and says he was just gonna fight Goku, but this might be a little bit more fun. Choose who you want to fight, except for Goku. He's mine. Cooler chooses Trunks, you know, he's from the future, he wants to test out what this future warrior's got, and Paragus picks Vegeta for Broly. I would say that Cell asks why Paragus won't fight anyone. It's very unlike a Saiyan to not want to fight anyone. Paragus is like, "Oh, I'm just too old to fight." The first one's up is obviously Cell versus Goku, which pretty much just goes exactly like it did in canon, except for Goku, you know, is just a bit stronger in this timeline. So, you know, he does a little bit better, but not great. The fight that comes after this is Trunks versus Cooler. Trunks immediately goes into Super Saiyan as he wants to end this quickly, but it's apparent that they're pretty much on equal terms, you know. Cooler in this timeline is going to be as equal as Super Saiyan Trunks. The difference maker here is when they both transform. Cooler goes into his 5th form, and Trunks goes into grade 3. Trunks becomes much stronger than Cooler, but the muscle mass created by grade 3 allows Cooler to be much faster than Trunks. And for a good portion of the fight, it's either Trunks just beating him up or Cooler trying to dodge and not get killed, until Cooler starts to think on his feet and ends up blinding Trunks and wrapping his tail around Trunks' legs, tripping him and knocking him out of the arena, allowing him to take the win. He basically pulled a Frost. And the third matchup is Broly versus Vegeta. And unlike the fight in canon, base form Broly can compete with the Super Saiyan Vegeta. But base Broly just barely has the edge over Super Saiyan Vegeta, so you know, he's still winning, but it's just by just a small amount. However, once Vegeta kicks it up to Super Vegeta, Broly is placed on the back foot. Vegeta smacks Broly's head down, you know, like this sledge move they have in Xenoverse 2, sending Broly flying down into the arena. Vegeta then proceeds to blast Broly multiple times, and each blast creates a bigger and bigger hole for Broly. Basically, they've destroyed the arena. Vegeta smiles as he powers down to base, stating that, "With pathetic Saiyans like you, my father should have killed you and not exiled you." Moments later, the ground around them begins to crumble. A yellow pillar of energy shoots out of the hole, and out steps out Ikari Broly, or Raffle Broly, whatever you want to call him, Human Ozaru Broly. And with Broly's ever-increasing power, he begins to slam on Vegeta. Now granted, this is a slightly stronger Vegeta than in canon, but it doesn't really help him out much. Vegeta just kind of starts getting tossed around like a ragdoll. He throws Vegeta into nearby mountains, then kicks him up into the air and hits him back down to the ground, finishing him off with an Omega Blaster. This puts an end to the prince's reign. Paragus, looking proudly at his son, tells him to come down. It's been done. They have no more business here. However, Broly begins to rocket towards Cooler and Cell. However, Cell's fast enough to dodge, but Cooler isn't so lucky. Broly grabs him and drags him across the floor, finishing it off with a point-blank range Ki Blast in the face. As Broly rushes over to, confront Cell once again. However, Cell is able to pretty much just dodge any attack and pretty much just block all of his attacks. Broly tries Mouth Blast after Mouth Blast, pretty much just destroying the entire arena until Goku goes to Paragus and tells to make his son stop. At this rate, either Broly's gonna destroy the planet or Cell will get so frustrated he'll destroy the planet. Paragus does try to calm down Broly, and by that I mean he tries to use the shock collar. And this does seem to be working. However, Cell expresses that he's upset because he was actually kind of having fun with Broly. He tells Paragus to, leave Broly to fight him. He wants to fight him just a little bit longer. To which Paragus says no, he doesn't want any more destruction. Here he came for what he was gonna do originally. So Cell, unhappy with that answer, decides to blast Paragus. And if you've seen the Broly movie, you know where this is going. We get Super Saiyajin Broly. This enormous energy strikes fear into everybody's hearts. Broly, unable to hold his rage, begins to send out ki blast everywhere. Similar to the Broly movie when he first transforms. Cell, for the most part, is able to just dodge and weave all the blast. I do think that we'd get a scene where Goku instant transmissions over to where Hercule is and starts, deflecting the blast to make sure they don't die. Once Broly stops that, he goes full frontal combat mode and just starts to beat the hell out of Cell. At this point, Krillin and Yamcha are tasked to take Hercule and his friends out of here, so they don't freaking die. Meanwhile, the remaining Saiyans, as well as Piccolo, Tien, and 16 power up to go stop Broly. If you've seen Plan to Eradicate the Saiyan or any of the other Broly movies, you know how well this goes for our heroes. Everybody gets beaten down hard. Goku tries to get Gohan to, let go, but that doesn't work. It's just not enough. With no fusion and Super Saiyan 2 to fall back on, there's only one option left. The Spirit Bomb. Goku tells everybody to buy him enough time to charge one up. He'll need 5 minutes at the very least. King Kai contacts him that he will help as well by getting the Namekians to donate their energy, as well as any, willing humans. The group goes in for round 2, but the group would only last around 2 minutes. And with everybody beaten down, Broly turns to Goku with a green blast in his mouth. But before he can fire it, Broly is sent flying thanks to a dual punch by Cooler and Cell. Cell just says, if anyone's gonna kill Goku, it's me. Cooler just gives this expression of disappointment by calling Broly useless. What's the point of having such great power if you can't control it? We get to see Cooler and Cell double teaming on Broly, the double C's. They do last longer, at least Cell does, when you compare him to everybody else. However, they last about 2.5 minutes before Broly puts him in their place. He then begins to rocket towards Goku. Goku, knowing he's out of time, gets ready to throw the Spirit Bomb. He's fully aware that the Spirit Bomb doesn't have enough energy to kill him, but maybe, just maybe, it'll knock him out. However, he's not fast enough to react in time, and Broly punches a hole right through Goku's stomach. After pulling his arm out, he lets Goku fall, and Gohan watches as his father falls, and begins to make his way towards him. As Goku hits the ground, Broly launches another Omega Blaster and obliterates him. This is the trigger that Gohan needs to unlock all the rage within his heart, and go to the next stage of Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan 2. Gohan is able to go blow for blow with Broly for a while before he starts to power up again. But before Broly can kill Gohan, Cooler steps back in by blasting Broly's back. He tells the Saiyan, as much as he hates to admit it, his brother was right. You Saiyans should have been killed off a long time ago. And then Cooler and Broly proceed to fight, which is honestly just a beatdown on Cooler. It ends with Broly using his mouth blast to send Cooler into the sun. When Broly turns around, he sees the humans, Piccolo, and Gohan charging up their special attacks. When they launch the attack, Broly can just barely hold it back. Because of this, Cell is the last one to join in after a small conversation between him and the Z Fighters, basically like, we need your help with that last bit of energy. Cell reluctantly raises his hands up and begins to condense the Spirit Bomb. He then absorbs it into himself, and Cell fires the perfect Kamehameha. Once it fuses into the other attacks, it's finally enough to kill Broly. So yeah, now that Broly's dead, there's gonna be a few new stuff that happens. Cell does set up another Cell games like a few days later, the one that isn't ruined by Broly, in which Gohan does end up winning, which I'm not gonna take that away from him, you know? Goku and Vegeta decide to stay in the afterlife and continue training, since Vegeta at this point isn't gonna let Kakarot surpass him. And I think that's all I'm gonna cover about Earth for now, since part 3 doesn't really deal with Earth that much. I'm gonna mention it like once and that's about it. I'll cover in a 3.5 since part 4 is gonna be the grand finale. And you may be wondering what happened to Cooler since I didn't say he died. Well, I think TFS put it best.
What the fuck?